Hello everyone, welcome to a new video for Bitcoin price predictions. This is indicators analysis. We're gonna see how the indicators RSI and MACD and of course KGT and many others, how it works with our Elliott wave possibilities. We're gonna dive a little bit deeper to see what happened in the last night. Well, a long stream has been made last night for many altcoins, also for Bitcoin, for the dominance, and to check if we might still get an alt season or not. So don't miss that stream. Of course, go and watch it. There is many or plenty of information, very important information in it. So starting on the Bitcoin daily, we have our scenarios here with triple 1-2s. We have 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and then 3, 4, and a 5. Finish the main impulse toward the upside with the wave 3 in the orange scenario, and ABC of course for the wave 4 in the orange, and then one more a leg as impulsive toward the upside, finishing this wave 5 in the orange scenario. Meaning if we are in triple 1-2, we have finished as well the wave 3 in the yellow, which is your last 1-2 here probably, and then moving towards the downside with a wave 4 and one more wave 5 towards the upside. This wave 4 of course has to be finished as kind of a corrective 3 waves. Now, however, if we take a look inside this, we see that it might still not be finished and it might require one more low to be finished, of course, as a corrective even WXY, probably double zigzag, because we are looking for a missing one more structure here. And it might be, of course, a double zigzag WXY, where we want to see, of course, double zigzag probably finished. Is gonna be very choppy probably, but yeah, it can be as well. Another scenario is, of course, that you are looking to something different than triple 1-2s. And probably you are looking here for double 1-2s, where we have 1-2, 1-2, 3, 4, 5, finish the main impulse wave 3, and then wave 4 as well finished, and wave 5, of course, finished with the bull run. And the difference between this one and the before, the triple 1-2s finish a wave 4 exactly in that at that point and start to count triple 1-2s, while this scenario has a longer wave 4 and W for zigzag, a regular flat or a running flat for a wave X, and a triangle for your wave Y. And your wave Y has finished a wave 4 and starting to count from here as a 1, 2, and then 1, 2, and then 3, 4, and a 5, 4, and a 5. Meaning probably we have finished, of course, and topped here. One more possibility can be possible, of course, to finish this wave 5 in an ending contracting diagonal, meaning very simply shifting, of course, the wave 5 to here to end up, of course, as an ending diagonal somehow like this. And of course, this is a possibility that it might happen, of course, even with this scenario where we have double 1-2s, that we might still see some move towards the upside and probably a new all-time high. Now, another scenario can be as well with a very longer wave 4, or very bigger correction wave 4, and a very deep wave C towards the downside, where you might have here 3 waves down finished and then 3 waves up as expanding a flat, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, closing this CME gap and starting to seek after strength and finishing one more wave 5 towards the upside, and meaning, of course, this finishing this scenario as 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, and a 5. But this scenario, of course, has a little bit lower possibility, because in case, of course, we are diving deeper, your wave 4 will become, of course, very, very long in time. Regarding the wave 2 in the yellow scenario here, it is already now triple time at least, so even to finish a wave C here, it might, of course, take even much more time, which reduces the possibility, of course. In case that we have topped here, of course, for the wave 5, no contracting diagonal anymore, and probably this is transforming to something bearish as 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It can play as a wave 1 and 2, 3, 4, and a 5 toward the downside to bring us a little bit lower back to the 60s, and then having 3 waves correction and one more wave C toward the downside for a bear market, of course, cycle, where we might probably range between this area here, because we have a very strong area here, has a resistance between the 50s and the 60s K, and probably starting to move for the next cycle for higher prices again, and even reaching higher than 120K. So let's take a look, of course, on the indicators right now. Let's see how this can work. Of course, on the 1 hour chart, as we mentioned yesterday, we have two scenarios as well. Before moving to the indicators, we have, of course, two scenarios that, yeah, probably we want to take the low, and that is, of course, a probability that it goes higher. Now, both of them can lead us, of course, for lower prices again. Yeah, so if we go higher, this might not be even a better option for the bulls. Yeah, if you want to still see higher prices, it would be preferably that it moves down from here and not moving up and then moving down, because of course this will form a very clear 1-2. So the possibility of getting a double 1-2 here with an ABC for your wave 2 for higher prices, this will kind of like yeah, give higher possibility for this double 1-2s to form a very nicely with some, yeah, very clear downtrend and momentum. And yeah, so preferably if you want to be, of course, bullish later on, it is preferably that you finish this as a zigzag. And of course, this 3 waves towards the upside was your X, so zigzag as W, 3 waves towards the upside as X, and you want to see any kind of structure here moving down, taking the low, getting some strength, and moving towards the upside after a big correction here. So this is the best scenario, I think, of course, if you want to move for higher and get the all-time high. Otherwise, if we move for higher from here, it will not be really possible to get the all-time high, because we don't have anyway an impulse here. It might transform to a zigzag or to a flat here, and then of course formation of a 1-2 again, and then continuation for a wave 3, 4 and a 5, 4 and a 5, meaning CME gap, and higher possibility that we are in a bear market, because as we said, if this is an ABC, this time for the wave 4 here in the yellow becomes very long, reducing the possibility that this is a wave 4, giving higher possibility that this might be a bear market. So let's take a look, of course, on the RSI. On the RSI, we have, of course, some signals here. As you can see, yeah, on the 1 hour chart, the price action is almost the same as RSI, but as you can see here, there is some divergence with the top, or convergence, I would say, with the tops, and leaving us, of course, to move for a lower, and still, of course, having the same direction for the RSI so far. There is no divergence yet for any bullish signal. Probably, of course, we're still looking for lower. We see, of course, when we see the price action, of course, moving with the same direction, meaning, of course, that this is the right direction probably. As you can see here, it is as well not divergence with for the bullish, so probably still give a little bit higher possibility for the bearish, especially after this exhaustion of yeah, of buying here, and then yeah, touching the overbought area, and then moving directly toward the downside. So let's see on the 4 hour chart. Well, on the 4 hour chart, the last signal that you got for the bulls here was this one, this divergence. It was given already here, this one, this bottom, and also this one here, as you can see, and it drove us, of course, for higher, but it was not really strong enough to say that okay, we are bullish. And as you can see, the price action still, of course, converging with the same, yeah, even moving lower, with the same direction. So yeah, probably, of course, still giving on the 4 hour chart much higher possibility for lower. We are exactly in the middle, but on the lower part of the RSI, so probably we might touch it one more time for the lower. Let's go to the daily. On the daily, that is interesting also signals. So in the bottom here, you see, of course, that there is also a little bit of divergence here, a very small one, right? Here we go, just small one. So it gives us this candle toward the upside, but then found, of course, some weakness again and moving toward the downside one more time. If we take a look as well here, we have a very clear divergence or exhaustion, I would say, for buying. And here we go. As you can see, it's an exhaustion for buying here, where you see a divergence with the price action and moving toward the downside. So these signals are very interesting as well. One more signal which it can be very interesting is on the daily, this one. From the wave 3, the previous wave 3 of the cycle, and here we see a divergence as well on the top, meaning, of course, exhaustion as well again. And that, of course, lead us for a finished wave 5 probably on the RSI, probably saying this. On the monthly or on the weekly, if we take it also from the previous cycle, we're talking about the previous cycle right now. So if you can see here, I'm gonna remove this just to get clearer. You can see that the tops here, taken of course from this top to this one, you can see a big divergence, with RSI. Meaning, of course, this is your previous cycle where you have, of course, probably your wave 3, 4, and a 5. This was your wave 5 probably here. And then, between the wave 3 and the wave 5, of course, you have this big exhaustion. Don't forget that a wave 3 and an impulse should be much more stronger. Even on the RSI, it should look higher than the wave 5, and this is exactly what we got. So probably we have to be careful that, okay, we might have topped here for a wave 5, because of course your wave 5 is weaker than your wave 3 normally, which is a previous cycle. And this is a very good indication, guys. This is the indication that we need actually. You can see it as well on the monthly for the RSI. Very important. Look at the monthly. I know all of them looks green unless this cycle, but don't forget that this cycle is a wave 5, right? So you have to take it into consideration that this is a wave 5, and it has to be it has to look a little bit less or weaker than a wave 3 cycle. So as you can see, very clear divergence, a signal of exhaustion, right? And so the same we got before, by the way, is if you take this one before and with this one, here we go, you see the same divergence in the top, and probably, of course, start to move for lower. As you can see, the last cycle, it moved, of course, lower, one more wave, deep waves, which we might have in our ABC. Then, of course, it went one more up, probably here, but I think this was an A, B, and a C here, probably. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. But much probable that this is an ABC, because this is, of course, an impulse, A, B, and a C. So and of course that means, of course, A, B, and a C expanding flat, meaning, of course, weakness, and it's a correction and moving lower for wave C. So we have to be careful with it as well, in case we have now a stronger divergence than the previous one. So we have to be careful with it, of course, and take it into consideration. Now let's move, of course, to the MACD. On the MACD, we have, of course, something interesting. Yeah, okay, let's start on the monthly. So on the monthly, you can see, of course, we are experimenting the most highest trend on the MACD, which is very interesting, still open, of course. But as you can see, double curve might have finished, right? 1, 2, and then now this second curve, it has started to give us a light color. Yeah? After three green candles, it started to give us a weaker signal. That means, of course, don't forget that the bearish signal might start from on the MACD from this area, the half of your curve. And that is a signal, guys, that it might be, of course, starting to move towards the downside, okay, to even before getting the bearish cross, of course. So the bearish cross can be get it later, and then, of course, you will be already a little bit lower, yeah, with the price action. But this is your signal that you would like to see, of course, a lighter color after those green candle, meaning a weakness might have started to show up on the MACD, of course, toward the downside, and especially that we have experimented a very high trend toward the upside. Yeah, on the weekly as well. Well, yeah, this is an interesting one that I want to show you guys. On the weekly, MACD looks like finished. Yeah, like the weekly, it looks like yeah, moving for a bearish cross, not just here like with the light green, but also with a bearish cross. So meaning it can be, guys, start to move toward the downside a little bit, maybe a little bit, I don't know, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, finishing ABC probably, and then moving for higher probably. But it is not necessarily, of course. It can be a very big move toward the downside, so which is bearish market, of course, or big correction for a next cycle. Very interesting. This is very interesting. This is what we need to watch on the MACD actually, to see what's gonna happen. And the daily, here we go. The daily, of course, looking. Yeah, I mean it is red. It is passing the curve, and we start to get some light colors here for those candles, right? But yeah, it's still open. The trend is still open. It might start to close, but I have the feeling that we passed now the zero, and we might dive a little bit deeper probably. The same like it happened here, right? It went again for a second wave. So yeah, probably be careful from that going from a second wave, of course, and then with a volume, and then moving with a trend even much lower later on. Yeah, so that is a very possible as well. Or it can start to move toward the upside, of course, with a lighter color, yeah, and then moving for higher, where we have, of course, our scenario to finish, yeah, probably 1 2 1 2. You can still finish a wave 2 here, and then moving towards the downside, unless, of course, something will happen here to finish this correction with a little bit lower, and then, of course, moving for a wave 5, final wave 5, and then moving down. So these are the insights here for the MACD on the daily. On the 4-hour chart is very boring. Very obviously, it's very boring. Yeah, but look at the buyers' volume shrinking down, right? And while the buyers here are, of course, still stable. So we have to be careful with it. Now, of course, not seeing red candles here is also interesting, but the problem is that we don't see also interesting volume for the for the buyers after it. Because when you get this, of course, meaning skipping downwards, there is a very strong resistance from the buyers, but it's still not enough, of course, to resist all the buyers coming from this top. And this is a problem, I think, right now, that there is a very strong pressure on the top. The 1-hour chart on the MACD, bearish cross, looks like a bearish cross, and then, of course, probably moving toward the downside, giving us, of course, a signal here that probably one more leg, at least to finish this structure as corrective, finding strength here, and then moving toward the upside probably, or maybe even taking the low. Yeah, so these are the signals for the MACD. Probably MACD is still bearish since the last weekend. I think I said that, okay, MACD looks very bearish. And most of the indicator were looking a little bit sideways or for higher. I mean, and still MACD looking bearish so far. So KGT, on KGT we have on the 15-minute chart here, of course, the strongest signal. We have, of course, a sell signal from the top, which it's making this strong pressure, of course, of selling right now. And we have a very strong convergence with another selling pressure. And we are getting here also a very strong invalidation for the bullish, very strong because it went very, very low. Invalidation of bullish scenarios, of course, and then yeah, start to find some weakness here because the only possible way now is to take this divergence on the 30-minute chart. On the 30-minute chart, you can see, of course, there is a strong divergence with the bullish signals. And probably, of course, you want to find another stronger signal because, as you can see, it was not strong enough to take the high, this signal. It was played and then start to move for lower. Meaning we might, of course, move a little bit lower to get a stronger signal right now, divergence again, of course, to get a little bit higher again, but still not strong enough again, because even if we get lower, this divergence is not really strong enough. It gives me the feeling it's gonna go high a little bit without taking this high now. Yeah. So as you can see, it's the power is reducing slowly of the buyers. Yeah. So these are the insights for KGT as well on the 15-minute chart. If we go for Bollinger Bands here, Bollinger Bands, we can see, okay. Yeah, on the 1 hour chart, we are, of course, between those squeezing Bollinger Band sideways. Yeah, we are on the lower part, probably stretching it. And of course, I mean, 1 hour chart on the weekend range is a little bit skeptical, I would say. But here we go. I mean, here, there is some, of course, space as well to move for lower. The Bollinger Band are already moving towards the downside, but probably start to find some strengths here again. But we're gonna see, of course, how it's gonna work on the daily. Okay, on the daily we are in the lower of it. Okay. Yeah, so on the daily it says, of course, that we are finding some support here, very strong one, as you can see the wicks, but the wicks are stronger to the top, meaning the resistance of the sellers is very strong, pushing the price towards the downside. And yeah, still, of course, as well, holding this area here as well. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen. I mean, it looks like, guys, it looks like it's gonna range for a long time. It's gonna be boring a little bit, probably, or it's gonna, of course, yeah, explode to one side, and probably this side would be the lower side. To be watched, this, of course, on Bollinger Band weekly, to be watched the 88K at least, which is your middle part. Very interesting. Of course, in case this can be a very strong major player here, and then start to move towards the upside, because anyway, it will take the low here as ABC probably, and then probably one more wave towards the upside. Very, very possible. Yeah, so that was it for Bitcoin, the indicators analysis. Yeah, the conclusion is we are still, of course, not very, very clear for the past, but I would say higher possibility still to take the low at least and find some strengths for higher prices. Preferably that we take the low here, and preferably from here, because you don't want to have a wave 2. If you get 1 2 1 2, that's not good. It's gonna form, of course, a double impulse. In case you move from here, you finish this as double zigzag, first zigzag, second zigzag, and the third one somehow, or any structure, it doesn't matter, just taking the low here, and by taking the low, it's gonna take some strength. Yeah, remember, taking the bullish signal with a big divergence here, and just get a little bit before the low, and then explosion toward the upside. So that I find this would be the best scenario for the bullish if you want, of course, to move for higher, just taking the low a little bit and then moving towards the upside, finishing this choppy wave currently. Yeah, so these are the insight for Bitcoin. Trade safe, guys, and thank you for watching. Thank you for your likes and comments. See you in the next one. Bye bye.